Okay, guys, it's time for part 2 of the spreadsheet assignment. To extend what we learned about spreadsheets a little bit and give you the actual assignment. In this tab, this is the grades tab at the bottom of the assignment, you'll see that there are some sheets of grades. Now, one of the awards I wanted to give at my annual gymnastics banquet is the Student Athlete Award. And so I asked all the students to give me transcripts, and what I did is I converted letter grades to numbers. A 4 represents an A, a 3 is a B, a 2 is a C, a 1 is a D, and a 0 is an F. The GPA stands for grade point average, and that's what you get when you add up all of the grades for all of your classes and divide by how many there are. In like a real transcript, you do a weighted GPA, so like semester classes are worth more than quarter classes, and year-long classes are worth more than that, but we're just going to make it simple for the spreadsheet. So a GPA will tell me overall who's the best student athlete. And so it also tells me who's eligible to compete, because you generally need a 2.0 or higher, so you need to be getting C's or better in order to participate in athletics. So we learned already how to do averages. You can average across rows as well as down columns. So we're just going to average everything across the row to find out a student's GPA. So we type equals, remember it's a formula, average, and then you see it pop up in the menu there. Type in open parentheses and you see what you need to fill in. The first parameter is mandatory, and after that they are optional. The first parameter is the range of numbers you're going to average over. So we select all of those cells and you can see it goes B2 to F2, B2 to F2. I end that and hit enter. Aaron has a 3.2 GPA, so he generally gets A's and B's. Again, if I grab this formula and I drag it down over all of these cells, it'll calculate the GPA for every student. And then I can very easily see who's eligible to compete and who needs to sit out for a match. Dennis, for example, needs to sit out because his GPA is less than 2.0. I'm very concerned about Rose because Rose needs to bring her grades up if she's going to compete. And as I look through, it looks like my student athlete of the year is Tracy, because she has the highest GPA of any of my athletes. So congratulations to Tracy. We also can figure out what our average grades are for every class, and this might be useful if, say, I'm going to bring in some tutors for one of the classes and I want to know which subject might be the best one to get tutors for. I'll just pick the one that has the lowest average grade. So we can do equals average and then select all of the data here and then drag it across. I didn't mean to put a slash there. Drag it across, and then I can see that the highest GPA is in science and the lowest GPA average is in English. So we really should get a tutor for English to help these students out to improve their grades. I can also figure out the number of students that got each grade and then kind of make a chart out of it so I can see where they stand with these. And to use these, we're going to use the formula COUNTIF. And I'm going to show you something, a modifier you can do with COUNTIF to make your work a little easier. So I'll do COUNTIF and then select, remember we do the range and then the criteria. So we'll select over this range and do a comma. And then for the criteria, in this cell, I'm interested in the number of students that got a 0. Not greater than 0, not less than 0, just 0. So in quotes, I'm just going to type in 0 and hit enter, okay? 2 students got 0s, they got Fs in that class. Now, you'll notice if I drag this down, something weird happens to the formula. So first of all, the thing in quotes doesn't change automatically, and that's not a big deal. I can adjust that. But this B3 to B22 is awkward, because what it did is it shifted the whole range down 1. In this formula, it was B2 through B21, so all of my athletes' grades. But in this cell, it was B3 through B22, so it shifted down a row, and it skipped Aaron completely. And then if I click in this cell, cell B26, you'll see it shifted down even one more to B4, B23. This isn't what I want. In every case, I want it to still have the same range of cells. I don't want that to change every time I drag the formula down. So I'm going to get rid of these and modify my formula a bit. Since I want the B2 through B21 to stay the same, or at least the 2 through 21 part to stay the same, I'm going to put a $sign in front of the numbers. So $2, $21. If you want the letters to be the thing that stay the same when you drag the formula, you put the $sign in front of the letters. but I want the numbers to stay consistent. And then I hit enter. And now when I drag this formula down, you can see it kept the 2 and the 21. And so all I need to do is go into the quotes and change the 0 to a 1 or whatever else it is going down. Whoops, that's supposed to be in quotes a 2. And then this is in a quotes a 3. And this is in quotes a 4. So now I can see in math, 2 students got Fs, 3 students got Ds, 3 students got Cs, 7 got Bs, and 5 got As. To see what the grades were in the other classes, I can drag this across, and then you'll see something cool that happened. So it changed the B to a C because we went over a column, but it kept the 2 and the 21 because those had the dollars in front of them. So that dollar sign is used, meaning when you drag this formula across or down, that part stays the same. That's what the dollar sign communicates. So I'll do the same with these other rows, and then I can very easily see how many students got which grade in which class. And so that's really helpful for me as their athletic director, because then I can keep an eye on their grades. And of course, I can see the total number of students by doing a sum. So we'll add all those up. And that's the total number of students in each class. It should add up to 20 because I have 20 athletes. So there we go. Lastly, if you want to see like a pie chart of the students that got each grade in each class, so I can highlight these rows, the labels, and also the totals in each row, and do insert chart. And then I don't want this to look like a column chart, so I'm going to pull down the pie chart. And now I can see the proportion of students in that class that got 0s, 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. So remember, for pie charts, you don't want to select like, you don't want to select the total or anything like that. You just are going to select the labels and then the number that got each label, and really make sure those represent parts of a whole. That's what's important. There can't be any overlap between students that got 0s and students that got 1s. Otherwise, your pie chart's going to be misleading. It won't be the right kind of data. It also is perfectly acceptable to make a bar chart, and this shows that data as well, but it doesn't show it as parts of a whole. So different ways that you can graph there. So your assignment, I'm going to go over to the tab that says Lemonade. In this assignment, we are doing a fundraiser so that we can raise money to go to the Gymnastics World Championship. And our fundraiser is a lemonade stand. So as we've been learning, you can calculate your profit by figuring out how much money you earn, your income, and then subtract how much money you spent to run your stand, which is your expenses, and that difference is your profit. In this spreadsheet, your job is to fill out the rows or the columns for income and profit, fill out the rows for average and total sold, and make a graph of the items that you sold that makes sense to communicate how many items. I'm going to suggest that we go ahead and add a row above total sold and put labels here. And that way, when you make your chart, it'll automatically have labels for you. So just to give you a little tip on how to fill these out. I decided that every day we spend $60 to keep the stand running. So $60 goes toward buying lemonade, cups, muffins, muffin wrappers, ice for the snow cone machine, stuff like that. $60 every day to keep the stand running. Income changes depending on what we sell. And you can see in this cell here, there's a price guide for how much we earn from each item. Lemonades are 50 cents, muffins are 75, and snow cones are 80 cents. So to figure out your income, you would do 50 cents times the number of lemonades, 75 cents times the number of muffins, and 80 cents times the number of snow cones, and you'd add all those up. Now we can put that into one algebraic expression here. We just use a formula. Equals 50 cents for each lemonade, 0.50 times, and remember, don't type that number, click on the cell, and it'll populate that with the cell code, B2, plus 75 cents times the number of muffins, click on that cell, plus 80 cents, that's not correct, 80 cents times this cell. Okay, and then when you hit enter, you can see that on day 1, we earned $69.25 in income. Now when we do profit, we can do another formula that takes income and subtracts expenses. So we do equals this minus this. And then remember, you can just take your formulas and drag them down, and it'll populate for all those rows, and then you can figure out your income and profit for every single day that you ran the lemonade stand. The last thing that you'll do is figure out the average number of each item you sold every day, along with your average income and your average profit every day. And then also figure out your grand totals. How many lemonades have we sold total? How many muffins have we sold total? How many snow cones? Figure out your total income, all the money you earned all 20 days, and then your total profit that you earned all 20 days. And I want you to make a graph that demonstrates how many of these items that you sold and put that in your spreadsheet. So that, I'm going to get rid of these now so that the spreadsheet's clear for you to use. That's your assignment for this part of the lesson, and then that'll be your last assignment for the year. So good luck with it. I hope you kind of enjoy doing this little work on spreadsheets, and it gives you some valuable skills for using these in the future. Okay, bye.